So this is fantastic. We've got this article here from The Independent that says Disney Channel is accused of feeding children anti-communist propaganda in resurfaced Girl Meets World clip.
So I saw this resurface alongside other clips from that show because they explored some pretty bizarre topics like religion and mental illness and other stuff. It ran from 2014 to 2017, so after the time that I was watching Disney Channel.
And long after the time when I had a crush on Topanga Lawrence back in,
Boy Meets World
yes.
days. Yeah.
Hubba Hubba.
This is the spin-off of Boy Meets World starring Sabrina Carpenter. So this clip, I saw it on Twitter only just recently, even though this article is from 2020. Let's react to it.
Guys, we might we may have to delete this clip later.
Hopefully not, though, because it's not directly sourced from the show. I found one that was recorded.
We're gonna play it, and we'll see if we don't get copyright.
Okay, what's this? We are putting up a wall to protect ourselves from them. Don't you think that's a little extreme? It's the judgment of the honor board to separate those who cheat.
Share. Hey! We all said it at the same time! I'm hungry. What is happening to us? Whoa.
We don't want to become like them. We'd rather remain a free society of individuals, instead of whatever the heck that was. But isn't the best part of a free society the fact that it allows its people to consider all beliefs? Yeah, but I want my friends back, Mr. Matthews. Can you fix this? You know, I graded your recent exams. Mr. Fryer.
He's no Mr. Feeney, that is for sure.
You get an A. Mr. Babineau. 100%. You get an A. Miss Hart. Miss Matthews. Farkle. 100%. You get a C.
What? We get a what's that you say now? How do we get 100% and get a C?
Because when you get everything right, but you don't do it yourselves, it makes you average. A divided by 3 is a C. Look at you. You're all the same. You're average. You're common.
Communism. This is why it fell. People didn't want to all be the same.
Without incentive, there's no motivation.
Thank you.
Without motivation, there's no advancement. In a truly free society, we share the best parts of ourselves without cheating. Because we get to learn who we are individually. Come on, guys. Separately, you're the best individuals I know. I miss you.
Just how did this end up on Disney?
Maya?
How did it slip past?
I think I'd like it better if I was doing well because I was doing well.
This is the craziest part, guys.
But now you're not me. There's only one of you, Farkle. There's only one of all of us. It's better that way, isn't it?
We were founded on the concept of welcoming all people
I can't believe-
from all different parts of the world and encouraging each of them to find out who they are.
Why?
Because the individual is valued here.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What if she unbuttons it and it's just Che Guevara shirt?
There you are. Welcome back, guys.
No, this part.
It's so weird.
She puts her hand to her heart as she looks at the American flag in the corner.
Riley, I'm proud of you.
This was
Fryer, tear down this wall.
Like, what?
take that, East Germany.
And this was in what, like 2015 or something?
So
around then. I have no idea how something
Slip
this like blatantly anti-communist propaganda would make it onto a Disney Channel show this late in the game.
It's also funny too because maybe it's because I understand that most of Hollywood doesn't agree with what we just watched. That I feel like when I'm watching it, that none of them believe what they're saying. Like it
almost felt like they were playing some joke on like the idea that they would be anti-communist. I don't even know, but it doesn't even seem that self-aware. I think it was genuinely.
But most of what he said was accurate. Like, you know, he's like, the individual is valued here, and that's what they should be talking about. But it felt fake to me. It felt like they didn't believe it.
So I saw a lot of tweets about this clip in particular, saying that this is just blatantly feeding children anti-communist propaganda, and it's so immoral that they would do that and poison children against a certain ideology, even though the rest of Disney Channel is generally propaganda just from the other side.
It'd be funnier if he was like, oh, that's interesting, face the wall.
Right.
So it says, the clip from the episode, which has now been viewed more than 3 million times, sees Corey lecture the girls about the need for individualism. They also talk about how they got caught cheating on a test. I'm guessing what they're saying is that it was supposed to be a test that they were supposed to be doing individually, but the three did it together. So it is, it's really funny. Like
I saw a tweet that said, Girl Meets World was such an odd show. In it, an adult was shamed for not wanting to date a 14-year-old, and they ultimately ended up together. I saw that scene on YouTube. They have an anti-autistic TV episode where one of the characters is diagnosed with autism, and the two girl cast members go up to him and act like he has a terminal illness.
Keys in the chat says Girl Meets World was consistently good. It wasn't one thing that slipped through. So, hey, I love it. I love it.
But it's weird because then I saw those two girls who came out of the show, Rowan Blanchard and Sabrina Carpenter, become some of the most annoying former Disney Child stars.
Well, yeah, but they're actors. They're just paid to say what's on screen at the time. Like I would be more interested to figure out who it was. In fact, I'm going to look it up. That produced it.
But isn't that weird?
It's
really so
funny.
They ended in January 2017, which is actually like right in the middle of you know the rise of wokeism.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting timing that would end up on the show.
Let's see. You wish so he did. Okay, yeah, he was the one who did the original Boy Meets World. So it was just it was a more balanced time. We were in a more balanced time. And then we should also.
And why did they call it communism instead of communism?
Yeah, I have no. Because it said communism on the board. It's not like there was a problem with saying it. But the line without incentive, there's no motivation. Without motivation, there's no advancement is 110% right. Like, that's the funniest part about this is like I think about everybody that complains about this stuff.
But I saw communism like supporters on Twitter tweeting about how messed up this was to show children propaganda specifically against their own ideology. Yeah. But when it's propaganda that supports their ideology, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, you can say it's wrong to give children political propaganda, but at least be consistent about it.
Yeah.
Whether it supports your ideas or not.
I've also seen guys that like I was watching a video the other day where they were talking about like if you put communism or in like a chat or like in a like when you leave a message or a comment on someone's page, it immediately goes to the held for review part.
Oh.
So I don't even like if people are typing it, those comments might not even get through. So yeah, they were very upset, and of course the media is very upset at pushing this, despite the fact that they can push anti-capitalist messages at their heart's desire without any problem or any really way of acknowledging to the fact that they're pushing anti-capitalist messages while being part of one of the most capitalist industries in the entire world, which is the film industry.
Also, I just sent you the scene that people were talking about that they thought was ableist against autistic people. And it was a weirdly shot scene where this kid tells his friends that he was diagnosed with autism, and they seem weirdly angry at him.
They're like, how dare you?
You don't.
Hold on. Let's start it from the beginning.
And they walk toward him in a rather intimidating way, like they're gonna hurt him.
If I have autism. You don't.
Let's go tell them you don't.
I might have a type of autism called Asperger's syndrome.
You don't.
What is it?
It's a disorder that affects a person's behavior.
Farkle, when I said that you were a little farkly, what I meant was that...
Yeah, you behave just like a perfectly normal Farkle.
You do.
We'll get the results from today's interview and we'll know.
We know. We don't know. Guys, I've passed every single test I've ever taken.
He made us come right over. He didn't want to go home. He didn't want to do anything except be with you.
Of course. That's who he is.
I see it in my classroom every day.
The most important thing to him was that you're a part of this.
Because he's Farkle.
That's who you are. No matter what anybody says.
Like, it's so weirdly aggressive.
And they're talking about like he's dying.
Yeah.
Like he's got a
like
terminal
he
illness.
just announced that he has cancer. And they're like, no. Let's see. This quote tweet said, "This highlights a wider issue within Girl Meets World where a group of Disney-approved, socially liberal, fiscally conservative writers attempted to tackle complex topics with about as much nuance as being hit by a bus. Other examples include the infamous communism episode." So they're saying that Disney specifically chose a writer's room of socially people who identified as socially liberal and fiscally conservative, and they wanted to write those ideas into the show.
I also love the idea that they frame that like it's bad. Like, I would imagine like a lot of like let's face it, a lot of adults now, whether like they're not fully conservative as they get older. Like, a lot of people are socially liberal, fiscally conservative. That's where I think a lot of that movement has gone to. Obviously, our audience might be a little bit different here, but like that's where I feel like I fall most of the time. So is socially very liberal, fiscally very not very conservative, fiscally on the conservative side, but socially liberal outside of the insanity. That's what's going on right now with gender ideology and things like that, as if those people couldn't write stories.
I think it's quite obvious at this point that all children's entertainment is, well, not all, but definitely the majority is injected with propaganda of all kinds. It's just seen as benign when it agrees with people on the left, and then when it's anything critical of them, it's more glaringly obvious because it goes against the grain.
And then Sketch Therapy says more Topanga, please. I second that motion. More Topanga at all times. There should always be more Topanga. That's what's important.
Yeah, someone tweeted, not to add to Cinnamon Toast Shrimp discourse, but did you know Topanga directed the anti-communist propaganda episode of
Oh
Girl
my
Meets
God,
World?
that's amazing. Oh my God. Let's get her on the show. Can we get Topanga Lawrence? Can we get her on the show?
Could be true.
That would be incredible. Incredible.
And then they also said that Girl Meets World insensitively treated the issue of religion in an episode they called Girl Meets Belief. And it showed that character Farkle arguing with the rest of the cast about religion because he didn't believe in God. And then the teacher character, Corey, came in and argued with him about like whether seeing is believing, and he said, just because you can't see the air doesn't mean it doesn't exist, Farkle. And they just like pwned him, and then everyone was mad because it like obviously kind of straw man's atheist arguments.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, I can see how this show had a reputation for bristling the wrong people, you know, the people who are in power in Disney or in the media in general.
Time to find out if she directed that episode. I need to know.
I think she did, though. That's what they were implying.
Let's see. Girl Meets World. Oh, yeah, she did. Girl Meets Communism. In 2016, that episode came out.
Someone said Boy Meets World dealt with a lot of issues in a really good way, and Girl Meets World fumbled the bag. Do you agree? Do you think Boy Meets World did a better job at tackling like serious topics?
I just saw an article recently where Ryder Strong from the original show said that he felt that they handled the topic of sex poorly because they covered it during like the prom episode or something like that. So this is a show that's continuously brought back up. So she did direct this episode. It says
oh my gosh, someone said, remember when they found out Farkle had family in the concentration camps during World War II? This show was too much. That kind of is too much for a kids show, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I genuinely don't think that there should be propaganda in kids shows of any persuasion.
Very hard to do.
I think if you're gonna like stand against one type of it, you should be consistent and stand against all of it, right? So someone said, low-key, this episode upset me because I have Asperger's and their reactions made me feel horrible. Yikes.
It's the world we live in today. So that's, I mean, I'm trying to get Danielle Fishel on. Let's get Danielle Fishel on. Maybe we can, I wonder if she's got an Instagram. We can send her a message, or a Twitter. We could send her a message and try to get her on. That would be incredible.
Huh.
No? So yeah, let's go super chats for a bit. But okay, so I actually have one more question. So how do you do the shows without propaganda then? That seems like the hardest part, right? Because it's very hard to not write some of your worldview into your work. Otherwise, you're going to make nothing but stuff like Coco Melon, and that's it.
Oh, I don't know if that's fair. I guess it depends on what you consider propagandistic. You can definitely address real-world issues and serious topics in a way that doesn't try to force a younger audience to adopt a certain worldview, but rather like presents different views and leaves you to ask yourself or people you know about them rather than authoritatively telling you what's right and wrong. But like, think about when teen pregnancy was a huge topic in like teen shows, but it was never representative of like the real statistics.
Yeah.
Like teen pregnancy was the highest it ever would get in like I think the early 90s, and it went dramatically lower after that. Yet it still was a super dominant topic in young adults shows and movies. So that's an example of propaganda right there.
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of the reviews on the IMDb for this episode. It says, I don't see the point of this episode. Is America still trying to scare people with communism? And they used kids. This is not right. We'll tell that to Greta Thunberg. What a weird, basically propaganda episode on communism bad, capitalism good. Was the idea in there that capitalism good?
I mean, they were at least saying that individualism is good.
But that's not inherently the concept behind it.
And they weren't really talking about economics. They were talking more about like herd mentality versus individualist mentality.
Oh, listen to this part. It says, this isn't the 1950s anymore. Americans aren't stupid enough to believe communism is evil. What?
Wow, they worded that in such a quiet part out loud way. They should have said that communism is still a threat, not that it's evil.
So they're literally saying like all those things that happened, all the people that died, all the famine, all the Stalin, Lenin, Mao, none of it matters because that wasn't real communism anyways. And then we have one positive review. It says, this is an important episode for two reasons. The main one being that it tried to teach you to stay true to who you are, because if you give in to the pressure of those who want to change you and thus become something you are not, you lose sight of who you are. So, I'm still stuck on the fact that person's like, communism's not bad. Like, it's the world we live in. Do you think that's true, though? Do you think that, like, college has effectively indoctrinated enough kids into believing that? Or they just don't know the difference. They don't know what it is anymore.
In college, I think it's more about what your peers are telling you than what your professors are telling you at this point.
Yeah.
Because even when I was at a public university, I didn't have a lot of super obvious propaganda in my classes. But if you asked any student what they thought about these things, they'd be in unanimous agreement. And it's just something that you're expected to fall in line with.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.